welcome Arthur Kallon, Boss ABK Ambassador to the podcast. I'm really happy to have you here today. Finally, we got to do it today.
Yes, finally.
Finally.
Thank you very much, Duffy. Thank you very much. And to our audience, it's a very big cheers for me and the rest of my family. Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure. Boss ABK, if you could you please introduce yourself?
Sure, why not? Okay, I'm Arthur Kallon, and I'm a married man, happily married. I've got 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. And for my work history, I worked in a couple of industries. I have worked in the telecoms industry for close to 12 years. And then I moved to the manufacturing industry for like 6 years. That's a Sierra Leone brewery. And then to the banking industry as the corporate affairs manager for one of the biggest commercial banks in Sierra Leone, that's Guaranteed Trust Bank. And now I work for Sierra Leone Public Transport Authority, which is under the Ministry of Transport and Communication. So that's it for my work history. And I'm a quiet guy. Calm, always stay put. I would want to say I'm an extrovert in most cases. I would want to say I can be introverted if I choose to, but that's just me.
Wow. Such an introduction. Such an introduction. But anyways, thanks for that introduction. How's your vacation going? You seem really relaxed.
Yes, I am. I needed this too bad. And guess what? I'm here with the whole family. So, I mean, you can't ask for more. Not in previous cases where I'm here alone or probably just with my wife and not the kids. This time I'm here with the whole family. And we're loving it. It's about a week out here. And I think it's cool. New Jersey, you can't ask for more. Summertime, it's been out most of the time. Even last night we were out. And it's cool here.
I can imagine. I haven't been to New Jersey. I've been as far as Maryland.
You should do that.
Yeah, I've been as far as Maryland, but I know it's a great community, great Sierra Leonean community out there. So, yeah. So, Boss ABK, I want us to start a conversation with a very unique community. You know, a unique community that I love, and I guess it's a community that you love as well. And that's where everything started for I guess you and for me as well in terms of our journey in life.
Right.
And that's the New England Ville Community.
Yeah.
So, Boss ABK, how long have you been in the New England Ville Community?
Literally for my entire life. I wasn't born there actually, but I grew up there, and my parents were there since I think it was 6 months. I was told. So that makes it my entire life at New England Ville. It's a community that is well positioned between a couple of other. Well, I wouldn't call it deprived, but not the most popular ones you would want to grow up in. But that has always been that type, and starting off with my family, it has always been small, but very, very, very close to God and the things of God. And so I believe strongly that probably that's one of the things that helped me in actually shaping my family life. But New England Ville, I would say the last time the census report that came up, I think it was still under 100,000 people. And yes, it's not too big, but at the same time, not too small. And like I said, not the most popular you'd want your kids to grow up in. But again, we're thankful for the humble beginning that we have. And I think it's cool. It used to be that particular community wherein every other neighbor knows his immediate neighbor or her immediate neighbor. Sadly, that's not the case anymore. It's a little bit crowded than it used to be. And yes. So things have changed, as you would expect, because the number has increased compared to some 5-10 years back. And now I'm a big man. I'm an old man. So you can tell how traverse the journey has been over the years. But we are thankful because it was almost like a taboo there. That people say, oh, kids are likely not to have a good upbringing here than other communities. That was not the case with some of us. We grew up there, and it wasn't the smoothest, but we were able to traverse those challenges, and we went to school there, we went to uni, and I mean, more or less the same with me, with you, and a couple of other friends that we know of, and it wasn't easy back then. For you to step foot into uni is quite an achievement, and I think it's the same.
Right.
It was quite. I mean, we wouldn't say it's completely different now. And we were able to make it to the university. I mean, I was able to put myself together as a young man. There were lots of distractions, that I won't lie. There were lots of distractions. Some of my making, and some, yes, some as a result of the community that we were in. But like I said, we were able to traverse all of those. And we're proud of who we are today. And guess what? The scenario now is not too far from what we used to have, even though I'll tell you the liabilities we have now, the exposures we have now in terms of our young people is not too encouraging. That does not in any way suggest us giving up. We had, older folks that were always hands-on when it comes to matters of our affairs. They were always giving us that nudge on the back, like, you should do this, you shouldn't settle for this. You guys are made of more. You guys need to go to college and get a degree and get yourself a job, get a decent life, get a family. And that's exactly what we're enjoying today. So it's a community full of mixed feelings. That does not in any way remote the fact that there are other people that were actually cut out for the worst. Yeah, I mean, we were exposed to drugs, we were exposed to other harmful things, but it's about the individual choice. Yeah, I wasn't surrounded by the best of friends, and not that I was perfect too. Yeah, and not that I was perfect. I mean, we were able, it's about knowing what you want. It's about hanging out with the right people. So as much as I wouldn't sit here and say it's the coolest of community, I wouldn't say it's the worst.
Well said. I think that's a very good summary of what New England Ville is. Right? It's such a unique community. As you were saying, it's not the best. It's not the worst. It has its own complexities as a community. But at the end of the day, there are people that came out of that community, and people like you and a few others that are doing very well in Sierra Leone as a whole.
We have some friends that are way successful. Well, it depends on how we choose to measure success here. But if you ask for a community like that, I would say I would score you probably a 5/10 if you're able to get a degree, if you're able to live a decent life, if you're able to have a family that is put together. I mean, if you have something going on for you and your family, I mean, that's more or less like it's quite an achievement of recent, especially with youths and things associated with youths in SL generally, in Sierra Leone generally. I mean, not to mention one community. I mean, there are people that we can mention that you can say, I mean, you'd always be proud of them. You'd always be proud of them. Later on in the program, we'll get to delve deep into some of those people. But again, I'm very thankful of some of the older folks that we were surrounded by. Yes, it was a community that was willing. Their hands were open to suck us in and just teach us, just show us, just lead us. Yeah, because I mean, it's likely that if you don't have the right leadership, the right friendship, the right circle, you might just lose it all. But I mean, for our case, we were thankful, one, for our parents. I mean, they were very astute when it comes to matters of education. I mean, you cannot play around. Every other thing they can do with that, but not without education. So they made us know that, I mean, not like we have a second choice. It has to be education. You have to get that degree. And for you to be better positioned to compete in any way, I mean, you can do whatever you choose to, but after your first degree, I mean, and that's the same thing I'm doing to my kids. I mean, I'm not saying you cannot go ahead and have all the degrees you choose to, but having a degree, especially the first degree, positions you better to compete in the world that we live now.
Yeah, well said. Ebike, you highlighted that we had older folks that were guiding us, that were a guide to us. And that makes me think about a few people. And I'm going to say a few names, and maybe I'm not exactly sure how much they were influential in your life, but maybe you could just kind of like give me a few details about it, if that's the case. So a name like Dadiach and Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Because when I used to go to the Andersons, I think that was the first time I actually encountered you, because I know you were hanging out with Ebu and guys like that, right? And there was a gym down there, and you guys were like the first people that were like on the gym and lifting things up.
You're working out. You're still in good shape.
You too. So, what were the influence of these great guys on your life?
Okay, so one thing I have never fell short of is to let people know how humble my beginning was. So, I mean, like I said, our parents were poor, like very, very poor, but not to the extent that they couldn't afford school fees for us. That's the lucky part of it. But I mean, I'm coming from a very poor family background. I mean, there were lots of challenges, lots of difficulties. So all we wanted back then as kids, was just to, like I said, hang out with the right people and get attracted to the things that will actually change your life. So as poor as we were, but we were still able to identify the people we hang out with. So that's how, and that's when people like Ebu and Ernest and Daniel and the rest of the Anderson kids came in. So it's not like we walked our way directly to Mr. Anderson or Mrs. Anderson. It was through their kids. And we will always be grateful to them. They were very, very friendly, and they opened up to us. They opened their hands to us. They opened their homes to us. And we started calling into those family. And it was more like a second home to us. It was more like a second home to us. And then the father, Mr. Anderson, late now, may his soul continue to rest in peace, was smart enough to identify some of our talents. And then from then he could say, okay, fine, I know you're full of talents. You guys should hang on to schooling. You guys should find your way in academics, because it's probably one of the fastest way that can change your life, given the fact that you're poor and stuff like that. And then it was a quick sell for him, and we bought into it, and that's it. So the narrative was, yes, we would always hang around the Andersons family, we would always hang around the Daddy Arch, we would always hang around those big guys, and the Sawyer and the T Mike and the Donald Peters and the rest of them. I mean, there's a whole lot of them. We'll always hang around them, but of course, we'll always be guided by their footsteps, by their achievements. Because, I mean, if you want to lead, you should be prepared to lead by example. You can't just sit there and tell me, go get a degree without you having one yourself. You understand? So, I mean, they led by example. We saw the life they were living. And personally, I said to myself, I want to live this life and probably more. So I challenged myself as to the whole thing is about choice. It's about choice. The people you hang out with, even doing this interview with you, is something we must have analyzed before making the choice. Okay, fine. I would rather have Arthur as my host, as my guest, and I would rather do an interview with Duffy as my host. So it's about how you analyze it and the ultimate choice you get to make at the end of it all. So those guys, it was critically analyzed as to whether they were going to be good or bad for us. There are other people that we could have hanged out with, and the narrative wouldn't have been this positive. So the whole thing was the type of people, the kind of people we hung around, and the choices we made. So we'll always be thankful to those guys, and our families will always be interconnected.
Wow! You put it in such a nice light, and I think. So to resonate with what you just said, because I also go on the other side, because we're not exactly within the same area, but I also go on the other side, and I also had people.
As yours was not. I mean, you were cool. You had a few good ones.
I was quiet. I was a quiet guy, from the one.
Oh, and respectful too, and focus. Proud of you.
Yeah. Thanks, man. So, well, who were you hanging out with? Who were your buddies back then? Back in the days, the England Ville days. Who were you hanging out with?
Okay, and I think it started off with what were my actual attractions in life, because with that, then eventually you'll get to find your way to your bodies. So it started off with sports. I'm always that sport type of guy who would always find our ways in watching football, the international leagues. Back then, the Italian Serie A league was the game. It was the game, not like now that the Premier League has taken over. I mean, for soccer, it was the Italian league, then the Spanish league, then the French league, and then probably you'll have the English league, English Premier League. So it started off with the type of sports I loved. So that was when I got connected to people like Aziz, like Lahai, like Jimmy, like, I mean, because we love the same thing anyway. So by default, we find ourselves hanging out in the same spot all the time. They love soccer. I love soccer too. They love hanging out. I love hanging out too. So that was how the friendship, that was how we called into each other. And then the friendship grew. So, I mean, as young people, that does not in any way exonerate us from being or from playing some funny games. Yeah, I cannot sit here and say we didn't do anything wrong. Yes, we did a few wrongs, and most of those we're happy that we made those mistakes, because it was able to shape us. It was able to come in and make us who we are today. If not for those mistakes, I doubt whether we would have made it to this point. So those are, I mean, those are justifiable mistakes. Yeah. And then we get to form this bond. Then that's where the friendship started. And now we're all grown up. Every other person has his own family. I mean, most 99% are doing well, even though we lost some soldiers along the struggles. I mean, people like Eddie Boy, people like Jack Peters, people like Omo. I mean, those were all good people. May their souls rest in perfect peace. And those were like buddies to us. Even our younger folks, like one who been called Father Latio, and a host of others, not to mention some rich kids that will always find ways to hang around us, like Abdullah Bilt, yeah, Nef in Pekin. I mean,
Yeah.
so we've lost a handful of sweet people, and we'll always pray that they're in good hands. So, I mean, that's how the friendship started off, by sharing the same sentiments, hang around the same things, get to love the same things. And then it took off. Then it got to form into this big family bulge. So people begin to identify us as family. People will always think, even to date, people think Aziz is my younger brother. I mean, they say, oh, that you brother, that you brother. The same with him, oh, that you big brother. Aside from the fact that we always look alike. He's cuter though. And yes, but I mean, we would always look like family to people, the way we hang out, the love we show, would exchange things. There are times I sit my kids down and tell them things that we've done. They're like, Daddy, you're not serious. I'm like, I'm dead serious. You don't mean it. I mean it. Yes, we'll exchange every other thing apart from underwear. That's how tight we were. And we'll get this few stuff from America. You'd want to see how excited we are. And that one t-shirt will make that round that circle like 3-4 times. So today you get to see me with this particular t-shirt. And if you're not careful, the other day you get to see the same t-shirt on somebody else. That's how stupid we were. But I mean, we're thankful to God. We're thankful to our parents. I mean, it's a completely different story you did like today.
Yeah, and I can remember you guys, and we we were a little bit on the younger side, so
Yes.
hanging out with Eddie Boy and Marcos and Paints and people like that, and we always looked up to you guys. We looked up to you guys, anyways. But I always noticed the bond between you and Aziz and the other guys. You guys had a very cool bond, and I'm gonna explore that a little bit later on. But before we get there, I just want to talk about, now we're all grown, we're all doing our own thing, and we have a WhatsApp group, a new little WhatsApp group that connects all, I would say, alumni, used to call, or offspring, so children of
New England
Ville. Exactly. We're all doing a thing now, but we have this WhatsApp group that brings us together. And I was just thinking, you've been very impactful in the community. I guess you have your opinion about this, right? Like, do you feel like with this WhatsApp group we can continue to do, because England Ville has a lot of challenges,
Yeah,
right? And I guess
like every other community,
right, it has a lot of challenges, but I feel like we can contribute to helping our community. And I just wanted to know if you had any thoughts on that.
Okay, that's a good one, by the way. That's a good one. And we started off in that line some years. And personally, this is something I would always do. I mean, I'm that type of guy. I know how much I have got from society. I know how much I have benefited from society. So if society wasn't there, I'm not too sure whether life would have been that easy for me. So if giving back is the only option I have, I mean, I'll take it with pleasure. So personally, on a personal note, I always give back in the simplest way. Yeah. So it's not just you coming around, ask for money and go do your thing. It's not just that. I'm not that type of guy anyway. I'll give you, but again, that's not sustainable. You'd always come back to something else. So what I'll always do is, like, me man, waiting to go on my life. You understand that? That's my favorite question. Like, what's going on for you? How you want it? At least you want the day pay every day for the camp. Hey, I mean, that shit is not cool. That's not cool. So I always sit you down and want to find in your life. So that was how it started for me personally. And then for the organization that I head now, I'm the president of the Titanic. Before it was Titanic Club. Now it's Titanic Development Organization. So we have evolved from being a social club to now a foundation wherein we've done lots of things in the community and outside the community. It will interest you to know that we are probably one of the very few organizations that has organized scholarship for students in the community. I think the number we started off with was 6, and we gave that to the community heads to figure out which school and which students get to benefit from that scholarship. So that was the number was very small. I think it was 6. And did that for a couple of years, and we have in happenings in Esther. One of such is during the Ebola outbreak in Sierra Leone. Yes, we were in the forefront of this and helping with stuff. Yeah. So if we get to identify the community, I in any way see why we shouldn't do that with a bunch of us one WhatsApp group. So for the New England WhatsApp group, there is something that has popped up a couple of times. It's just that, I mean, we're all super busy now, but I can vividly remember there are 1 or 2 instances wherein this WhatsApp group have successfully contributed to supporting community cause. And one of such, the mosque going to Mojabi, that mosque, it was strategically placed in that junction. So I can remember some years back, this very New England Ville WhatsApp group was very fast putting some finances together when the mosque needed help. Yeah. And another thing that I know that it wouldn't have been done like a group, but individually we've tapped into people's pocket like, man, this people needs just medical attention. We need to come together and do something for her. I know people have always done that. I mean, shout out to somebody like Mansa, like Biola, people, all them. They'll always step up and say, man, what's not for the area? And I will go. They'll give, no matter how little it is, but they'll come in. So it has always been like that. But to think of what we want to show for an assembly like this type in the form of a WhatsApp group, I think there are a lot more we can do. I believe there are a lot more we can do. And it starts with things like this. It starts with personal engagement. And this is something I have been doing in the past as to giving back to the community. And thankfully, not one person has said no. every other person that I have engaged on that, I say, hey man, let's do this, whatever time you're ready. And there are suggestions that have come up. I mean, there was this one as to having a few poda in the community, courtesy of New England Ville Offspring, and then we can put it under a particular name or an organization wherein proceeds from that can be used for, say, maintaining the local water side, as we call it, or maintaining the roads, or giving back to underprivileged kids that their parents couldn't afford their fees. And I don't know, there are lots of things that we can do with proceeds from that one. So that was just one suggestion. There was another suggestion of having like a carpentry or welding shop, probably at the foot of the hill. But having a piece of land in that particular vicinity is almost impossible. Yeah. So we were thinking maybe we can get other side, not only for being at the main junction, but this particular, I mean, just to create that craftsmanship in the community wherein we produce carpenters, we produce welders, we produce, I mean, anything is better than what we have now in that community. I mean, we're having boys transform into zombies now. I mean, because of massive drug intake, which is not only restricted to New England Ville anyway.
Yeah.
It has been a national menace, but it's very, 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 very strong in New England Ville Community. So we believe if we have things like those ones going on in the side, that might just capture their attention, and they might just make good use of their life. So, but those are all suggestions that we're looking into. And like I said, thanks for engagement like this. This might just catapult into something bigger.
Yeah, and I hope it does. I hope it does, because that's my intention, is to just start a conversation and see where it goes, because there's so much power in conversation. You know, remember when we used to sit in at the junction and we had conversations, right? Yes. And things happen, right? So for me, this is my own way of, you know, trying to just start something, spark something.
And another thing I was going to mention was the soft competition, was a healthy competition that we had, for my peers and even for your peers. I mean, it was a decent competition. I love competitions like that, because it pushes me beyond my potential limit. I would want to challenge myself that if he can do that, if he can have a second master's, I can do it as well. I mean, if he can go to length and get this and achieve this and this, I can do it as well. So, I mean, that's healthy competition. As much as we were friends, we were brothers, there was always this decent competition amongst ourselves, and we'll always challenge ourselves beyond our limits. So, I agree with you. Discussions like this might just turn out to be something.
Yeah. Who knows? But anyways, I agree with what you're saying. Just being around people who, you know, trying to get the best of their own potential motivates you to get the best of your potential. And that's what we're lucky to have that, you know, set up at New Level, right? So I'm glad about that. So, Ebike, I just want
to... there are funny memories as well, you know? And there was a time when we were young, and most of the things we did, you would expect things like that from people of our age. I think we were around between 22, 25, and we had this pub in the community, like SLBC canteen. So that was one of our favorite spots. We'll go there, we'll hang around. I mean, older folks, they'll get us some few booze. Yes, we booze a lot. Yes. They'll get us some few booze. And then just about that time, we had this massive rampant theft, like almost every other night. And thieves will even call. Yes, you've had that now. Yeah, they'll even house your phone and say, oh, we can't distance. And guess what? They will show up. So the community was very unsafe, but we were as drunk as we were. We were still able to produce the community policing that the community needed. So
remember,
there was this particular night, we were super drunk, super drunk. We were coming from this SLBC canteen, and we were shouting, "Oh, neighbor, they don't know you get to the back." We do with normal community policing, not knowing that we were dead drunk. We were just finding our homes, finding our beds. And then the other morning, you'll see people coming to our house, say, "Hey, Una, thank you." We had you guys last night. Thank you very much. If not for you guys, police and thieves would have da. And for our minds, we were saying, "Look at you."
But is that where your community service started? Like, because I remember at that time, because I was a little younger then, so I didn't go out. But I know after that, you guys started doing the community policing.
Yes, we did.
Regularly. I was home, but for me, that was one of the first time I remember like the community, younger guys in the community coming together doing stuff for the community, and you guys pioneered that, or maybe some other older folks did. I don't know, because
no,
you'll be able to tell me.
We started it, and guess what? It was something that we initiated, and we get to see other communities, other surrounding communities doing likewise. Yes, we started the vigilante thing. It was like some kind of vigilante thing, because then there was this rampant theft all around the place. So if we didn't come together and put ourselves into some vigilante groups, I mean, who knows? It would have turned into something else. So few weeks and months after, we get to see community like Douazak having theirs in place, community like Tengbetong having theirs in place, Brookfields. Yeah, I mean, surrounding communities, they all begin to form these vigilante groups and just look out, watch out for your community, and just, I mean, somebody has to do that anyway. So we were willing enough. Like I said, this community has always been good to us. So, I mean, doing this vigilante night watch was nothing. We loved it anyway. And thankfully, the community appreciated us too. I mean, there are instances where in the other morning, they'll come with food items and say, "Hey, Una, thank you. We are Una last night." They'll come with food items for us. So, I mean, you'd always love it.
Yeah. So, Ebike, Titanic.
Yes.
Yeah. I always wanted to ask this question. How did Titanic started?
Okay. Maybe you want to be a little bit inquisitive as to why Titanic.
Yeah. Why?
Yes. So, like I said, there was this particular unit of young boys and girls coming together and do their individual thing and then get to form this family budge. Then the idea started like, okay, fine, let's do a party. Then schools and colleges would have closed for the academic year, and then there wasn't much to do. So, like young people, you're tempted to say, okay, fine, let's cut loose a little bit. So it started off. I was like 1996, 97. Yeah, it's way back. We were super young, and then let's throw a party. I mean, it was like an area party where we put ourselves together and then come up with some amount and then throw party. So there was this particular party that we threw in the Susanna's house,
England, yes. I remember.
Yes, there was this particular party that we threw, and it's not that the guests or the invites were just restricted to New England alone. We would invite people from other communities. They'll come and see how we do things in the community, and they'll love it. And they'll go back to theirs and do their own. So it was a good thing that we led on that too. So we invited a few friends from college and from other schools, from other areas. They were there to witness the party. But for that particular one, I can remember that it was during one of those insecure moments wherein ECOMOG was present in Sierra Leone. We had the civil war, and then after there was this tight security everywhere. So there was curfew being in place right by that time that we threw the party. So I think the curfew was 12 midnight to 6 a.m. So we were like, okay, fine, we can do whatever we want during that time. Maybe we can do from 6 to 11 p.m. Yeah. So there was this party that we threw. right around that time, thinking that, oh, I mean, we would have dispersed by 11, 10, 10:30, 11 anyway. I mean, so we don't need to be there till 12 midnight. And then, young people now, it got into our heads and we overdo it. So 12 o'clock each, we don't know. All man, they enjoy, all man, they dance, all man, they get fun. Not one person they get say, hey, this is a coffee table. So we were having mad fun. And then there, I can really remember there was this particular voice. I was around the bar area, and there was particular one say, so Jaman dinner do. Yes, there was this Nigerian ECOMOG presence around the Pademba Road prisons area.
Yeah.
So obviously, during such time, you'd get to hear things from afar because the area was quiet, and there was this bunch of stupid people playing loud music all around the place. I don't know, some of the neighbors, I don't know, but I mean, ECOMOG were there. That ECOMOG Nigeria had accent. Now, who dey for this place? Who dey for this place? Are you people mad? Don't you know what's going on? Don't you know there is a coffee place? Who organized this thing? Bam. My brother, it's a way to say food it will not give.
I know the saying.
Titanic crashed. That in the movie, the Titanic itself, everything was going on fine, everything was going on cool, but for one mistake, and then everything crashed. So that was how the Titanic came along. That was how the Titanic name came along.
Interesting.
The party was going smooth, everything was fine, and then boom, man, you want to see? I mean, they kicked us. Then between Bob Power, then between Bob Power. And then older people like T-Mike, they were big. I mean, even their physical presence is intimidating enough. I mean, they had extra God to come out and say, listen, I mean, we did this, we're sorry, we didn't know, we were just closing down by the time you came in. I mean, we were apologetic, and thankfully, I mean, they were able to sense that, I mean, these are a bunch of young people. And then they're like, okay, fine, shut it off and you guys go home. I mean, so that was it. So the party was okay until that happened. So it was a complete replica of the Titanic story. And that was when we were like, okay, fine, let's form an organization and give it a name. So we couldn't think of any better name than what actually transpired at that party, which gave rise to Titanic. Then for Titanic, the membership was initially restricted to people within the New England confines. Yeah, It was a mix. We had few girls and mostly boys. We had older people like the T-Mike and the rest of them. And we had younger people and stuff like that. But I'll be frank with you. Initially, in the initial life of Titanic, it was all party. It was all for fun. It was just for that young people vibe. Let's do another party. Let's do outing. By the way, we threw one of the best outing in New England Ville, December 26th.
Always do.
Always. I mean, the entire community will cut loose for that party. You'll see hundreds, probably thousands of people forming queue, waiting for buses to go Laka and all of these places. We were known for that. In fact, that was what we were known for. I mean, It was we can call it the enjoyment part. I mean, we were young anyway. We're talking 23, 25, 26. I mean, I will not give a 26 years of age guy that pass now anyway. I'll still think you're old enough anyway. But 22, I'll probably give you that. I'll give 22. Yeah. I'll give up to 25. But 26, no. My son can't be 26 and tell me, oh, daddy, I'm still young. Yes, you are. But guess what? You should be able to discern what's right and what's not right. So that gave rise to Titanic. And we had the first president in the person of T-Mike. And then it changed hands to Steve, then to Ebu, and now me. So in the entire life of Titanic, I think we've got like 4 presidents, and thankfully we've got massive membership, of which we are proud of today. People like Joseph Badi, he's here in the States. People like Biola, he's here in the States. T. Mike is in Germany. And Alimami Kaba, remember Alimami Kaba? He's here in the States. And myself, I go and come all the time. So, I mean, the unit is still there. Not to say we have completely lost sight of the enjoyment part, but what we have grasped over the years in our mature time is the fact that, I mean, we can't just be throwing party all around the place. I mean, we're way, way, way older than that. So then the idea of forming an organization or a foundation crept in. So that was what gave rise to the Titanic Development Organization, which I have explained previously, some of the things that we have done. And if we're to highlight, I'll give you a list of things that we have done. And I can proudly say some of those are under my watch, and some of those were under the watch of my predecessors. So it's very, very cool. And what has kept the fire burning is the fact that we choose to, even if it's not every year, at least every other year, we'll bring in one or two younger folks. Come in. We don't old. We don't get the energy again. So even the young vibe, the young energy, the experience, we'll just be there just to oversee things. But we need young people. And thankfully, they're coming in. We're enjoying it. We're proud of the people that we have brought in the recent past. And we're doing fine. We're okay with that.
That's a very good summary story about Titanic and how it all started. I didn't know all of these things, so that was really cool to hear all of this from you. And I think to a greater extent,
especially having our butt kicked.
But I think to a greater extent, Big House Family, which is another club, in England Ville, kind of use Titanic's, way of doing things. That's how we kind of it was the motivation for us.
Yes.
Right? And that's how we started as well. And of course, we all started at a very young age. It was all about parties and stuff like that. And we're trying to morph into something else, something that could benefit the community. Yes, I don't engage as much, because we have our own president, they have their own thing going on. But it's really cool to see what they're doing and how their story will eventually be. And I'm hopeful for what they're doing as well. But I have to say, what you guys did was an example for us as well to do what we continue to do in our own way.
Yeah. So Big House is my success story. Yeah. I will always be proud of what they are today. Like you rightly said, I mean, they're younger, but that does not mean they're not foresighted. They are. And I love them. I see myself in them if I'm to reverse 10, 12 years back. So their story alone is a success for me as an older folk, as being part of Titanic that you guys looked up to. So it's cool. It's super cool. And we're proud of what they've achieved over the years. We're proud of what they've become. And I think they're doing well, too. I think they're doing well.
They're doing great.
That was what gave me the impetus to say, okay, fine, you know something, let's do a collabo. Yeah, it came from me. It was in my house. Yeah, I think it was one of my kids was, we're having an event for one of my kids, and then a few of them came around. I mean, Big House. And then we had this Titanic presence. I'm like, come, guys, why not do a collabo? And everybody looks at each other like, what's in this guy to talk? I mean, I'm serious. Let's do a collabo for the community. Because there was a time, I'll be frank with you, there was a time the community looked at us like rivals, which was foolish anyway. But I mean, that's how it was. There was a time, because they were doing their thing, we'd go there to support. We were doing our thing, they would come around to support. But there was this thing going around that, remember where they can't take over on that. That's not that's a bad thing anyway. But and it got to some point that it be almost heated. But I mean, thankfully, not under my watch. Something like that, it can never happen. I'll always find a way to go around that. So we cool now later on. People like Marcos, I mean, we're very cool. People like Eddie Boy, people like, I mean, this but what then? Yeah. So then people then have taken to the membership, say, oh, Titanic, and they suggest a collabo. Eventually, through the foresightedness of their leadership, they were like, okay, fine, let us just watch and so waiting there happy. It could be a new way. It could be something new for the community. Collabos. I mean, we have collabos and mergers everywhere. Everywhere. You see telcos merging or collaborating with banks now. You see betting companies collaborating with government institutions now. So I'm like, if you can't beat them, join them. There's nothing wrong with
it's all about looking at the bigger picture, right? Looking at the bigger picture, the community comes first in everything, right? That's what we want. We want the good of the community.
Yeah.
And over years, Titanic has been like household name in the community. Bigas is also a household name in the community.
Yes.
So there's greater chance. We have a great opportunity here to influence the community if we come together, collaborate together, right? And I have to say, I'm the first president of Big House, and you are president of Titanic, and here we are today.
See,
collaborating.
Yes. Yes. I mean, it's cool, and we're proud of what they've done in the community as well. Because I mean, they've made some brilliant moves. I mean, which is cool. I mean, moves that are community-based moves. I mean, moves that you'd expect a foundation of that magnitude to make. And I suspect most of those ideas must have come from people like you. And it's cool. Cool.
And I hope this level of collaboration will continue, right, going forward. Even after you leave your presidency and another president comes up. Same thing with Big House, that collaboration will continue because there is a greater benefit for the community if this happens and if this continues, right?
You're right. So, I mean, like I said, I mean, 1,000 miles starts with the very first step. And that collaboration for the carnival, I believe, was the very first step. And guess what? Post-carnival, we were talking some other community-based activities that is not enjoyment-based or enjoyment-related, but I mean, other things that we can both do for the community. And people are looking up to us now. You want to see how young boys and girls in that community continue to look up to these two big giants organizations, which is a cool thing.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking to see how all that unfolds. Yeah. Okay, but I want to leave the community a little bit. We also have another shared experience.
Okay.
I got into Fourah Bay College.
Okay.
And you were about to leave Fourah Bay College. I think I met you in your last year.
I will cross part in my final year and in your first year.
Exactly. And then at that time you were, I think, the president of a social club.
Yes, I was. Yes, I was.
I think, was it Pacifics?
No, it was Island.
Oh, Islands. Okay. The Islanders. Okay. Yeah. Question: did leadership come to you easy because, like, you started off with Titanic, you're president, and then okay, now you're president. But back then, you've always been influential in the community, and then when you were in Fourah Bay College, you were also a leader as well. So, did leadership come easy to you?
Okay, before answering your questions, two things I would want to highlight here. No one person sleeps overnight and say, I want to be a leader tomorrow. No one. I mean, if you do that, then you're just pushing it. I mean, I think it should effortlessly pop out just like that. So it starts with oneself. It starts with family. It starts from the home. You'll get to see yourself taking the lead in things that you are not supposed to do. I test my kids all the time. I hope they don't hear this anyway.
They might.
So what I do is I'll just position something where it's not supposed to be. The entire household will know this, for example, chair is not supposed to be here. I bet you, not for the youngest one, but for my two boys, 15 and 9, I know the one that will say, "Would I put this chair? I'm not supposed for there." Take her and go put her in a rightful position. I'll bet you, if a visitor comes and knocks on the door, if for whatever reason, are they backyard or are they sleep or are they in a parlor and no one sees some person, I'll bet you if it is son A or son B opens that door, I know what he will say to that person. I know what he will say to that person. And guess what? With those two examples, somebody just led. So it does not, when we talk leadership here, it does not need to be heading a whole organization. It does not need to be heading a whole country, being a president of a country or president of an organization. You see leading effortlessly. It comes out naturally. So for my case, I strongly believe it started off back home, because my father, my mother will always tell you, I'll take the lead and keep the grasses short in the compound. I'll take the lead in cleaning the compound every weekend. I'll take the lead in, you understand? So it started off there. So going to college and post-college, seeing myself leading some of this organization, I believe is something that my young age had prepared me to do. So for Fourah Bay College, it was a situation where in the mix, I mean, you know now, the mix is always tight. You'll have kids from humble beginning like us. You'll have kids, in our situation, there were some kids from America, from US here. Their parents take them over, and then so it's a mix. So if it was to be pinpointed on affluence, you understand where I'm coming from? If affluence was going to play part in who our next leader was going to be, I thought Kallon was definitely the last name that would come to mind. Not that would be the way Church close school class, not that would be the way Church close school. We'll always afford that one nice hold on, that one nice t-shirt. But I mean, we are super, super, super humble, as compared to other kids. But guess what? When it comes to academics, they will know this is the guy that will prove probably the best solution in the room. This is the guy where, aside from only enjoyment, he would always keep his 3-4 point grades. This is the guy where he will enjoy party this night tomorrow morning. You see, and they take exam, they study, So I mean, those guys, leaders back then, they identify those things and take it. They keep record of it. So when it comes to handing over as to who the next president of Ireland was going to be, I was expecting an executive position because I was that vibrant. But to say I was expecting me becoming the next president was a lie. But then, in their quarter, they had like 3 or 4 names they had arrived on. So they must have scrutinized those 4 names. They must have checked out those. They must have done their background checks on everything. And there was this general meeting that they were going to announce who the next president was going to be. In my mind, there were 2 names that was going to pop up. Everybody they say, this and again. My impression was I was going to be given an executive position, but I wasn't sure which 2, because there were 2 planes. And then I got announced as the president. Yes, it was difficult for me to hold the tears back because I'm like, who me come up? You understand that? And then they got to explain the parameters that they use in arriving at where they arrived, in letting this person becoming the president. And guess what? The decision was unanimous. And the house was, everybody was like, yes, we cannot miss with Arthur. We cannot miss with him. We cannot miss with him. I always say to them, that was where the setup started. Because with that kind unanimous agreement, there is no way I could have gone wrong with my presidency. There is no way I could have missed it. So that was the setup for me. It set me up that particular day. From that day, I said, this assignment, I not ever failed. I was going to pass with flying colors anyway. So that was the setup. So everything that was island related, if the bar was this high, I was going to go above that bar. So naturally, I'm that type of person that likes to win. I like to win. Not all the time, but I mean, you know that feeling that I like for win.
Of course.
For win. So that was how, and people begin to say, oh, okay, fine, that's it. Then it transformed into my corporate discharge again in terms of my workplaces. So it wasn't just leading a particular organization or a social club. I began to see myself leading projects. Yeah, there was this one particular one that's at the Sierra Leone Brewery. There was this project that they wanted a project lead. And for all we know, during the lifespan of the brewery, every other project lead that project has got were Nigerians or Ghanaians or somebody from Holland. Yeah, we've never got a Sierra Leonean occupying that position. So I was the first Sierra Leonean that was given that opportunity. Something I'll always be proud of. And something.
Congrats.
Yes. So we were sent to Nigeria. We got the requisite training for that. And then it made headlines in Sierra Leone. Yes. It made headlines in Sierra Leone. The first Sierra Leonean to have led on such project. And guess what? It was under my reign that we were able to tap into government's attention to be granted the complete franchise in doing locals.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's impressive. That's impressive. Oh, yeah.
That is super, super, super impressive. So I was proud of myself. My family were proud of me. My friends were proud of me. And I actually said to myself, if I successfully do those, not to say I did it all by myself, because there is no way I can. But even putting the right team around me was genius. You understand? It was everything. Leader has to be calculated. It has to be strategic. I can tell you now, God being my helper, I can tell you now where I expect myself to be in the next 5 years. Yeah, I can tell you that. If everything falls into place, like I said, God being my helper, I can tell you now where I see myself. It might not be, not to measure in exactitude, but I'll tell you where I see myself in the next 5 years. And I have never missed that. I have.
And I guess that's the power of vision, right? That's the power of planning, you know.
You have to be a visionary person. You need to see where every other person fails to see. Yeah. So even with Titanic, I can tell you, we've never had that situation where we're able to garner that much in terms of profit. As expected, there were one or two people in the bunch who say, "Oh, don't make this boku money." So love shame now. Oh, shame money. I mean, they are born followers. They are born leaders. This guy, you're not expecting to see beyond this point. That's why you are there as the leader, to let him see beyond that point. You understand? Even in your family life, I see myself leading in most cases, starting with me with. You understand? It's that situation wherein, I mean, if my wife puts on a particular dress, every other person says, "Oh, that dress not nice, that dress not nice." If me say fine, it's fine. So now that kind of situation get for believe you, and you not get for land for let people down. That's something I have never done. The moment you bestow trust in me, I'm gonna go to length. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Humanly possible, not for let you down. So that's why I can be sluggish when people bestow new responsibility, new assignments, because I know, I mean, to whom much is given, much is expected. Yeah.
Well said.
I don't play around when it comes to matters like that. So even in this my new job, you want to see there were a couple of other lawyers there in the interview, and there were a few Nigerians there. You know, these Nigerians, they play everywhere. There were a few Nigerians there. I mean, but for my corporate profile, but for my work achievements over the years, they're like, so we're thankful. So the reason I'm saying all of this is just to let you know that leadership is not something you sleep over and become a leader tomorrow morning. It doesn't come like that. It's something you must have nursed from within. You must have seen yourself doing it effortlessly. I mean, Like I said, the example, I know which one I think or I believe is going to be a leader. That does not in any way suggest that the other one is not going to be a leader. That does not in any way suggest that the other one is not going to be a leader. But if I am to pinpoint one, I'll tell you this will lead. Yeah. People change over time. Don't get me wrong. People change. He might be this today and change tomorrow. But given the circumstance now, I know signals when I see them.
Yeah, I think you giving me running me through Islanders into your work life and what it takes to be a leader. I think you pinpoint all of that, right? And I appreciate you for giving those examples, giving the examples, and giving what it takes, right? Yeah. So it became my final question for you is like, I've seen you in many different aspects of life. You know, I've seen you as a community leader. I've seen you as a social club leader in university, and I've seen you being very active and also a leader within your career, right? So my question is, what's the drive, motivation, or inspiration behind your journey so far?
Okay, so it's two different author. Me, the author before family, and the author after family. Like I said, my biggest motivation now is seeing my family, leaving my family behind every morning, going out there to hustle. I mean, even if I want to be lazy, even if I want Kallon, I want to play around, for the fact that I see me picking them, my guy, go out there and do something. You understand? So, like I said, I have built my family in a way that I don't know how to put it. They're so believe in me. You understand? And one quick example. Back then in New England, Bobo would come and throw stone. But because I don't teach me young Bobo say, elect almost stone and throw, elect what thing and do. Just keep them where I can't let them complain. There was a particular situation where as they opened the way the lady complained, he bust car. So that tells you otherwise he would have reacted long ago, even before me coming up. But because this team does, they say, Daddy say make her wait. So they looked at me like that kind of person we can handle situation. They looked at me like that kind of person we get the solution. I cannot let them down. There is no way I can let them down. So for that by itself is a big motivation for me, that then they look me eye and say, this is the guy that can change things. This is the guy that can do it. So that's why I mentioned me being a different person before family and a different person now after family. That's one. Two, Duffy, I always say this to person. Nothing motivates you more than when you get to see people's life change as a result of your actions. I can sit here and name a few people where after God, I take them personally as my responsibility. There are a few more that I have failed where not only person in fault. Sometimes I'm my own fault. Sometimes I'm not giving too much attention, or sometimes I'm not giving the right advice, or sometimes when I'm my own fault. But there are a handful of them again where I would say, not them. And if then they do good today, because of God and me, that's a whole lot of motivation for me for the next guy.
True.
You understand? That's a whole lot of motivation for me for the next guy. You understand? I have been busted before. I have been looked down upon before. I have been castigated before. But will that kill? Will that dampen anything? Will that? Yes, it will make me guys always stay up, but that will not change much because I have a motivation. There are other people out there that needs me aside from my family. Yeah. So, I mean, motivation again is intrinsic. It's how you see it. And I like for win. I just tell you, I like for win. Yeah. So
I can relate.
For play Ludo. I don't think it's a too good thing. I don't think it's a too good thing. I just want bad habits. I don't. My man is able to say, if I play self joke self, you know, but I just lack for win. I just lack for win.
if that what motivates you, and if you can finesse it in such a way that it's not detrimental to you, but it's positive to you, then it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good. But thanks, ABK, for just running me through your journey. It's very motivating.
Not too boring.
No, not too boring. Not too boring at all. It's really motivating. I got to know a few things, and I got to know a different side of you that I didn't know.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, a cool side though. A cool side. I got to see the CEO side. The focus side.
Like you one quick one. So Ronald, the last day I can make instead we can visit. So Biola tell us say, oh, okay, ABK they come next week. I said, ABK. I said, give me the phone. They're gonna pick the phone. Hello, you don't say me get big phone. Hello, bra ABK. I said, who's this? I said, he said, why you conky out? Remember we be conk. Of all the things in the world, you don't remember nothing. Not just that concrete, remember. So I mean, things can get lasting effects in people then. So if that's the effect, some of the actions and some of the community dealings then get on you, then that's good. I mean, I'm proud.
FYI,
at least you don't remember.
No.
But we get to read about we.
What I remember about you is that I didn't like playing soccer with you. I just feel I didn't like playing soccer when you're around.
Was it because you were not good at it, or there were other priorities?
No, because you were not a good player. You were a good player, but you wouldn't allow anybody to just pass you like that.
No, not good and not been good. Not good and not been good. I've been poor bad. I've been poor. Well, foul. When I foul, we said you can't play foul.
Exactly. So because I knew you could foul, that's why I didn't like playing soccer with you.
Who they foul, man.
But anyway, okay, I have a few random questions before we end. I have a few random questions for you. So the first random question is in like 3 words. How would you describe the England Ville Community?
Chaotic lately. Very deprived but hopeful. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say a few words.
Chaotic but super hopeful.
Okay. I want to say a few words.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
No expletives, please.
Okay.
All right. Mojabi.
Fight. Chaotic.
Chaotic. All right. Islanders.
God's blessing. Blessing.
Okay. Josephield.
Rough.
All right. Okay. Kimanora.
Enjoyment. Social life. Enjoyment.
All right. Last but not the least, the Anderson residents.
Super thankful. I'm thankful.
All right. So the final question, ABK, is like, how do you go about like self-development or improving or acquiring knowledge?
Okay. So I set myself a PDP, a personal development plans, and I review it time and time again, frequently. This is what I say to everybody that I get to interact with. Failing to have a PDP in place for yourself, it means you just plan to fail. So with my PDP, my personal development plan, I'm able to guide myself. I'm able to measure myself as to what I set some year ago, some 2 years ago, whether I'm still working in that line in terms of achievement. I can tell whether I have moved a little out of scope. I can tell what I said some 4 or 5 years ago is still fashionable enough for me to compete today, because people have made such mistakes. What you wanted might not be what you want 5 years after. Things might have changed, situations might have changed, and even in terms of solutions, would change. So naturally, if I have a PDP in place that is workable, a smart PDP, I always say, that is a smart PDP, and we see is workable, I mean, it can always be a game changer for one. Now, even before coming to the US, there were a few things in terms of personal business and business for my wife that we were looking at some 12, 24 months ago. This is personal business. Some 24 months after, when we got to come to America, we get to see as viable as those things can be, but now it won't pay much dividend to us. So things change. So if we had not reviewed that and just stuck to what we had in mind 2 years ago, we would have missed it. So constant review is always good. So that's something I always do. It could be my PDP, it could be that of my kids, that of my family, that for my work life, my social life. And I mean, one social thing is I used to do liquor. I mean, health-wise and stuff like that. One thing led to another, then to another. I mean, one has to advise himself that, I mean, I'll not say I quit completely, but you need to step it down. You need to step it down. So the version of me down is a step down version of what I used to be. So it's about constant review of your life and having a set and workable, smart PDP in place.
Wow. I like that. I think that is something that everybody needs to have, you know. And that brings me to my final question. ABK, Ambassador.
So you have like 5.
I didn't get that.
You have like 5 final questions.
Yeah, I just want to get you going. Because it's been a good conversation with you, and I gotta say that it's good catch up. I gotta see a different light of you, and congratulations on all your achievement. You're doing a good job within the community, England Ville for sure, and I'm just looking forward to see what more you can do in the future. And I believe you have a greater impact in the community, and I hope that you continue to bring the community together. So thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. I mean, I know you have thousands of guests out there or potential guests. So for you to have reached out and say, let's do yours, I'm thankful for that. And I wish my wife and kids were down here, but for the decorum that we so need, I asked them to stay up and just give me this 1 hour. But hopefully in our next engagement, you'll get to meet my wife, you'll get to meet my kids. And I'm thankful, man. I'm thankful. And I'm proud of you too. If you hear skid, yesterday, that means that when you write yesterday, then they talk good about you. If you left yes, not bad. Like yesterday, now some of weekend they talk good about you. I'm proud of you too, man. I mean,
thank you.
You know that kind of person you're not only loudest in the room, but we can call a stealth operator. You get a stealth operation. You're always a few things that you corner. And some of the few older we're proud of that, man. Good job.
Thank you, VK. I appreciate it. Thank you.